I think that this Swiss brand has just dropped one of the best dress watches on the market. Now, you guys know I'm a big dress watch fan. Unapologetically, I love me dress watches, and I think it's because it's an area of watch that remains a little bit untouched. When it comes to watches, a lot of watch brands try to be really fancy with things, invent new complications, unusual K-shapes, basically try to do something to stand out from the rest. And I have no problem with that. In fact, I actually like watches that are unusual, that try and do those things. But also, I appreciate the opposite end of the spectrum, a watch that is unapologetically a simple, beautiful, sophisticated dress watch. And the Swiss do know how to make a good dress watch. However, this brand is underrated. This watch brand has been going for almost 50 years. Yet, it flies massively under the radar when it comes to watch enthusiasts and watch collectors. However, over the past couple of years, it feels like they've really stepped up their game. Not only in terms of their designs, but also sort of appealing to an enthusiast market. Because us collectors, we're not normal people, are we? We're a bit weird. We have very specific things that we like, and if your watch doesn't fall within that sort of thing, then I'm not interested, I'm not gonna buy it. So Raymond Weil has sort of been stepping up their game in that department. They've been making watches that are a little bit more enthusiast focused. And the reason why I know that is because the Raymond Weil team are actually in touch with me. I've been talking to the Raymond Weil team. They've been, sort of asking questions about the watch community, the watch enthusiasts. What do they like? They really want to understand watch collectors. They want to be part of the watch community. Guys, first, we're nearly at 100,000 subscribers. We're genuinely this close. Like if 100,000 subscribers was this, we're here. Could you please do me a big favor? Hit the subscribe button. It'll make my day. I appreciate you. So I first got hands-on with this watch a few months ago. I attended a Red Bar Manchester meetup, and Raymond Weil were there. They were displaying all of their collection, everything from their award-winning Millesime watch to their sporty skeleton pieces. And that was my first time getting hands-on with Raymond Weil watches, and I was extremely impressed with them. Not only because they're good quality, but the thing that impressed me most with them is their designs. I actually interviewed on camera someone from Raymond Weil. I asked him some questions about this watch we're checking out today, and because I was such a big fan of this watch at that meetup, and they knew I was a watch reviewer, they recently got in touch and said, "Hey Kieran, listen, we'd love to send you one. You can keep it after the video. Because you were such a big fan of it, we want to get one on your wrist, and we want you to make a video on it, telling everybody why you love it." So this is the brand new, literally released a couple of days ago, Raymond Weil Toccata Heritage. This is your quintessential, understated, elegant, sophisticated dress watch. Everything about this watch, from case to clasp, has been executed with elegance and comfort in mind. So to any experienced watch collector out there, you'll instantly go, hang on a minute, I've seen this case shape before. A lot of people might think, well, this is a Patek Philippe Ellipse homage. You're close, it's nearly a homage to that. The first watch brand that made a piece in this style was actually Universal Genève. The white shadow predated the Patek Ellipse by 2 years. Both Gerald Genta designs, both incredible looking watches. Also, one thing to point out is that this isn't the first time Raymond Weil have made an oval shaped dress watch. They've been making them pretty much since their inception. There is plenty of vintage Raymond Weil models in this oval shape, so it's not like they're just jumping on a trend now. They're paying respect to their heritage with this model, hence why it's called the Toccata Heritage. So the Toccata Heritage is an oval shaped dress watch. It features a beautiful polished curved bezel. The dial design is super minimal and classy here, but it's truly how this watch wears on the wrist that I think is just incredible. So this is an ellipse style watch, right? But the main thing that makes it different to those watches is the use of lugs. The ellipse watches of the past featured straps that were hidden under the case. However, what Raymond Weil have done with this one is they've put traditional lugs on it. The top and the bottom feature regular lugs. It then features regular end links that then attach to a beautiful 5-link bracelet. The case finishing is completely polished, as it should be with an elegant dress watch like this. The finishing has been executed to a high standard. This is a Swiss-made watch brand. They make great watches. Of course, they know how to finish a watch. There is a small indented surface between the case sides and the bezel, which adds just a little bit of detail without being over the top. Now, the crown is signed on this one with the Raymond Weil logo. It is only push-pull. However, the case back is screwed down to the case with one screw in each corner under the lug. This watch does feature a display case back, but we'll cover that in a minute when we talk about the movement. And this watch delivers 30 meters of water resistance. Typically, that would be terrible, but this is a dress watch, right? you're not gonna get this watch wet. I'm sure you've got some divers, I'm sure you've got some field watches to deal with the pool on your holiday when you need them to. This watch is all about looking sophisticated and being as thin as possible, and usually that means you do have to compromise a little bit when it comes to water resistance. Now the end links on this watch are actually positive, that being where they stick out from the case. And I think they've done that to give this fairly small watch, you know, it's got quite compact dimensions, they've done that just to give it a little bit more wrist presence. And I always say I prefer positive end links to negative end links. I think it gives more structure to the head of the watch and makes it feel like a more complete design. The bracelet then tapers to a butterfly clasp. Usually I'm not a fan of butterfly clasps, but this one does come with half links, and the links here are quite small anyway. The clasp is signed at the meeting with the RW logo, and although I do often criticize a butterfly clasp, I actually think it was the perfect choice on this watch because it looks the most elegant. Now, size. This is a weird watch, right? Because this is an unusual shaped dress watch, so it doesn't quite wear the same as the dimensions might suggest. Case diameter comes in at 33mm, lug to lug comes in at 41mm, however when you include those fixed end links it comes in at 48mm. But the best dimension of the lot is case thickness, 7.5mm. Now I have a 6.5 inch wrist, which is slightly below average, but just look at how much wrist presence this watch has. Because of the large dial, because of that quite expansive lug to lug, you get tons of wrist presence with this watch, but because of the smaller dimensions, it wears unbelievably well. It slides under a cuff with ease, you forget you're even wearing a watch throughout the day. In terms of the dimensions, it's the definition of a perfect dress watch. Now this watch is mechanical. In the back of it is a Solita hand-wound movement. You can see the movement through the oval-shaped case back, which sort of mimics the curvaceous case. I believe this is the Solita SW210. It has been slightly customized. There is some Raymond Weil branding on the movement, for example. There's also some blued screws and other finishing to the movement. Case back is completely polished. There's a little bit of a spec sheet on there, but just like the front of the watch, it's been kept rather minimal. Speaking of, it's the front of this watch that steals the show. So the Raymond Weil branding here has been kept super minimal. Then there's applied stick indexes around the dial with a double applied stick index up at the 12. A white mini track has been printed on the outer dial, but very subtly. And then there is a gorgeous polished handset that features a facet down the middle. The actual dial finish is a very light sunburst blue. It's not ostentatious, it's not over the top, it's not super dynamic. It's very subtle, it's understated. The perfect choice for a dress watch of this style. Down at the 6 o'clock, you will see the Swiss-made stamp. Again, these are Swiss-made watches. Raymond Weil, a Swiss-made brand for almost 50 years. In my opinion, the definition of a perfect dial for a dress watch. Of course, there is no lume on this watch to speak of. You know, it would be a bit silly if there was lume on this one, to be honest. Crystal is a flat piece of sapphire. Of course, it's oval shaped to match the case, and there is definitely some anti-reflective treatment used on this because outside in full light it performs very well. There are a couple of dial options with this one. There is a silver dial, there's also a gold dial that features a gold case. There's also a quartz version of this watch if you don't want the mechanical one, and if you want something slightly smaller, they also do a smaller case version too. Now flaws, let's talk about what I don't like about this watch. Typically, I would be mad that this features a mechanical movement and no running seconds hand. However, I had the choice of which one I wanted. They asked me, did I want the quartz or did I want the mechanical? And I chose the mechanical, so that tells you sort of everything you need to know about that decision in this watch. I don't think a watch of this style needs a second hand. Time only with 2 hands is the perfect choice. So if you don't want to have to wind the watch every day, you can go quartz. If like me, you enjoy winding the watch every day, of course, there's the mechanical option. One thing I have noticed is that when the watch is nearly fully wound, it is hard to grip. The crown is quite small and the case is rounded and polished, so it is hard to sort of finish off that wind when it's nearly full. Next, I haven't mentioned lug width, and that's because it's 17mm. Now, it's not too big of an issue because this bracelet is brilliant. Again, a 5-link bracelet, beautiful finishing. It works with the watch really well. However, of course, 17mm is just an awkward lug width. I doubt any of you already have a 17mm strap in your collection, so if you do buy this one, you'll either have to stick with the bracelet or go and buy new straps for it. And then we come on to price. The Toccata Heritage on the bracelet comes in at £1,395, and if you want to go for the quartz version, you can get it for £895. These are very well made watches. They feature great movements. Under the macro lens, they are immaculate. They are clearly very well made. The way they fit, the way they feel in hands is incredible. I am genuinely obsessed with this watch. Raymond Weil sent this watch to me around a month ago, and I was not allowed to post any pictures of it. I wasn't allowed to tell anybody that I had it because it wasn't officially announced yet and they wanted to keep it under wraps. And I have been wearing this watch almost every single day since they sent it to me. It is just a dream to wear, and in terms of the style, it is exactly what I like. Every time I put this watch on, it just makes me smile and feel happy. Not only because it looks so good, but it's also just so easy to wear. I think having a dedicated dress watch in your collection is a good idea. When you need to dress up, put a suit and tie on, you should have a watch that matches your attire. Now, obviously I wear dress watches every day just with t-shirt and jeans because I like the style of them, but even for somebody who doesn't wear them that often, I think this would be the perfect fit. I am absolutely over the moon that I get to keep this watch and put it in my collection. I have been looking for a watch like this for a while to put in the collection, and I am over the moon that I now have it. Of course, you'll find a link in the description below to the Raymond Weil website where you can check out the full range. I adore this watch. It is absolutely brilliant. If you haven't already, please like and subscribe. I appreciate you, and I'll catch you in the next one, guys. Bye for now.